You know exactly what you need to do, but something invisible stops you every time. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and that life-changing goal remains just out of reach, while others surge forward, claiming their victories. You remain stuck in an endless cycle of planning, researching, and preparing, never quite breaking through to meaningful action. What you don't realize is that it's not lack of knowledge holding you back. It's not insufficient resources or bad timing. It's something far more fundamental, a mental prison so familiar that you've stopped noticing its walls. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal the single most powerful decision that has separated history's greatest achievers from the masses of the self-delusional. This isn't just another motivational theory. It's the core principle that Napoleon Hill discovered after studying the world's most successful individuals for over 25 years. This revelation isn't just interesting information. It's the dividing line between those who merely dream and those who actually conquer. Because if you don't make this essential mental shift today, you'll continue watching your true potential slip through your fingers as life passes by. The decision awaits you, no, and only you can make it. Most people live their entire lives never understanding the true reason for their limitations. They blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck for their lack of progress, never realizing that the real barrier exists only in their minds. The single greatest decision that separates winners from the self-delusional is the commitment to absolute personal responsibility. This means accepting, without reservation or excuse, that you and you alone, the primary creative force in your life. Winners decide, with unflinching conviction, that they are responsible for everything they have and everything they don't have. The self-delusional, by contrast, choose the comfort of excuses over the power of ownership. Napoleon Hill, after studying over 500 of the world's most successful people, concluded that this single decision forms the foundation of all achievement. When he interviewed Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and countless other titans of their era, he discovered that each had made this fundamental choice early in their journey. They stopped waiting for perfect conditions. They stopped blaming external factors. They made the decision to take complete ownership of their results. What about you? Are you still clinging to stories about why you can't move forward? Are you still waiting for the perfect moment when everything aligns? Or are you ready to make the decision that will fundamentally alter your destiny? The choice between accountability and excuse-making isn't just a philosophical stance. It's the first and most crucial step toward transforming your potential into reality. You believe that more information will finally push you into action. Another book, another course, another guru, surely this time you'll find the missing piece. But this pursuit of endless knowledge without implementation is the hallmark of the self-delusional. Knowledge without action is merely intellectual entertainment. The most dangerous form of self-delusion is believing that knowing is the same as doing. Winners make the decision to value implementation over information. They understand that execution, even imperfect execution, trumps perfect knowledge every single time. The self-delusional collect facts, theories, and strategies that gather dust in the attic of unused potential. Consider the story of Edwin C. Barnes. As Napoleon Hill recounts, Barnes had no money, no education, and no connections when he decided he would become Thomas Edison's business partner. He didn't just dream about it or research how it might be possible. He didn't wait until he had the perfect resume. He made the decision to act immediately with what he had. He hopped a freight train to Edison's laboratory, appearing as a tramp but thinking like a partner. Years later, he indeed became Edison's partner and made a fortune marketing the Edison dictating machine. What separates Barnes from millions of others who dreamed of success? While they were gathering more information and waiting for the perfect moment, Barnes had already made the decision that implementation, immediate and persistent, was the only path to his goal. He understood that knowledge without action is the ultimate self-delusion. Right now, ask yourself, how much of what you already know are you failing to implement? What knowledge are you using as a substitute for action? The moment you decide that done is better than perfect, that starting is better than planning, you cross the line that separates the achievers from the dreamers. Will you continue to hide behind the shield of "I need to learn more," or will you finally make the decision to act on what you already know? The self-delusional drift through life with nebulous desires. I want to be successful. I want to be happy. I want more money. These hazy wishes create equally hazy results. Winners, in stark contrast, make the decision to define their purpose with razor-sharp precision. Definite purpose is the starting point of all achievement. Napoleon Hill placed it as the first principle in his philosophy for a reason. When you make the decision to identify exactly what you want, when you want it, and what you're willing to give in return for it, you activate mental forces that cannot be stopped. The self-delusional never commit to such clarity because clarity demands accountability. Look at Henry Ford. He didn't just vaguely wish to make transportation better. He made the specific decision to create an affordable automobile for the average person. He declared, "I will build a motor car for the great multitude." This definite purpose guided every action, every experiment, and every business decision that followed. When faced with seemingly insurmountable technical problems, this crystal-clear purpose kept him focused, while others would have abandoned the goal. Your life reflects the level of clarity in your purpose. Vague goals produce vague outcomes. The decision to define your purpose with absolute precision isn't just a mental exercise, it's the dividing line between intentional living and accidental existence. Tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself, have I made the decision to define exactly what I want, or am I still hiding in the comfortable fog of generalities? The quality of your answer will reveal whether you stand with the winners or the Deep down, you fear that you don't have what it takes. This shadow of doubt follows you everywhere, whispering reasons why you can't, shouldn't, or won't succeed. The self-delusional listen to these whispers. Winners make the decision to drown them out with a roar of self-belief. Faith in yourself is not optional, it's the essential foundation of all achievement. Napoleon Hill discovered that every successful person he studied shared one trait, an unwavering belief in their ability to achieve their goals, often before any evidence supported that belief. This wasn't mere positive thinking. It was a deliberate decision to align their thoughts with their desired reality rather than their current circumstances. Thomas Edison failed over 10,000 times while trying to create a commercially viable electric light bulb. When asked how it felt to fail so many times, he famously responded, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This wasn't blind optimism. It was the decision to interpret events in a way that served his ultimate purpose. While others would have seen 10,000 failures, Edison chose to see 10,000 steps toward success. Self-belief isn't something you're born with, it's something you decide to develop. The most powerful decision you can make today is to stop waiting for confidence and start acting as if you already possess it in abundance. Faith comes first, then evidence follows. The self-delusional wait for evidence before believing. Winners decide to believe first, knowing that this decision itself creates the evidence they seek. Right now, in this moment, you face a critical choice. Will you continue waiting for permission to believe in yourself? Or will you make the decision that separates the extraordinary from the ordinary? Will you choose the comfort of doubt or the power of convicted faith? Your answer will determine whether you join the ranks of the accomplished or remain among the self-delusional. Failure isn't just possible, it's guaranteed. Temporary defeat is the price of admission for any worthwhile goal. The self-delusional interpret failure as a signal to quit. Winners make the decision to persist beyond all reasonable limits. Unwavering persistence is the true measure of belief. Napoleon Hill observed that persistence was the single quality that most reliably predicted success, even more than education, talent, or connections. When he analyzed the life patterns of the world's greatest achievers, he found that their paths were littered with failures and setbacks. What separated them wasn't an absence of failure, but a decision to continue despite it. Consider the story of R.U. Darby's uncle, who caught gold fever during the gold rush. After discovering a vein of gold, he purchased machinery and began mining. The vein disappeared. He kept drilling but found nothing. After many failed attempts, he sold his machinery to a junk man for a few $100s and gave up. The junk man called in a mining engineer who calculated that the vein would reappear just 3 feet from where Darby's uncle had stopped drilling. The junk man extracted millions of dollars worth of gold from the mine just 3 feet from where persistence had failed. How many times have you stopped drilling just 3 feet from gold? How many dreams have you abandoned at the first, second, or third sign of resistance? The decision to persist beyond reason, beyond evidence, beyond comfort isn't just admirable, it's the non-negotiable requirement for any significant achievement. This very moment, you stand at a crossroads. Will you be the person who quits when victory might be just around the corner? Or will you make the decision that has separated history's winners from its footnotes? Will you commit to boundless persistence even when every rational voice, including your own, suggests surrender? You've been trying to achieve great things alone, but true success is never a solo endeavor. The self-delusional attempt to reach their goals in isolation. Winners make the decision to harness the power of the mastermind. Combined intelligence creates exponential results. Napoleon Hill defined the mastermind as the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between 2 or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. He discovered that behind every great fortune stood a great mastermind group. No significant achievement in history has ever been the product of a single mind working alone. Henry Ford was not a naturally gifted businessman or engineer. What made him exceptional was his decision to surround himself with those who possessed the knowledge and skills he lacked. He created a mastermind group of brilliant thinkers and talented specialists. Thomas Edison made the same decision, assembling a team of over 30 scientists, engineers, and mathematicians to work on his inventions. Their achievements weren't just the sum of individual contributions, but the exponential product of minds working in harmony. Who are you deliberately connecting with to expand your thinking and accelerate your progress? Have you made the decision to seek out those whose strengths complement your weaknesses? Or are you still laboring under the delusion that significant success can be achieved alone? The most powerful decision you can make today is to stop trying to be the smartest person in the room and start building rooms filled with people smarter than you. The dividing line between the exceptional and the average isn't just talent or opportunities, the decision to leverage the power of multiple minds aligned toward a single purpose. Will you continue struggling against your limitations? Or will you finally decide to create a mastermind that makes those limitations irrelevant? Casual interest produces casual results. The self-delusional wants success, Winners make the decision to need it with burning obsession. Burning desire is the threshold requirement for any extraordinary achievement. Napoleon Hill observed that successful people don't merely want their goals, they become consumed by them. This isn't just heightened motivation, it's a fundamental decision to transform moderate interest into an all-consuming obsession that borders on the unreasonable. When Alexander Graham Bell was working to invent the telephone, he didn't approach it as an interesting side project. He made the decision to pursue it with such intensity that he often forgot to eat or sleep. His desire wasn't casual, it was consuming. Similarly, when Howard Schultz had the vision to transform Starbucks from a small coffee bean shop into a national chain of coffeehouses, he was rejected by 217 of the 242 investors he approached. What kept him going wasn't mild interest, it was an obsessive commitment to his vision. Most people fail not because they lack ability, but because they lack the decision to transform polite interest into burning obsession. They dabble, they sample, they taste test various goals, never deciding to feast fully on any single one of them. Winners, by contrast, make the decision to pour themselves completely into their chief aim, allowing it to consume their thoughts, direct their actions, and shape their identity. What have you decided to become obsessed with? What goal has captured not just your interest but your entire being? If you cannot immediately identify something that you've chosen to pursue with unreasonable passion, you've discovered why you stand among the self-delusional rather than the achievers. The most powerful decision awaiting you now is to select your definite chief aim and transform it from something you're working on into something that's working on you. Will you continue spreading your energy across countless mediocre pursuits? Or will you finally make the decision to focus with laser-like intensity on your most important goal? The choice between distraction and obsession is the choice between ordinary and extraordinary. You've been squandering your most powerful creative force. The self-delusional waste their vital energy. Winners make the decision to channel and redirect it. Sexual energy transmuted becomes creative genius. One of Napoleon Hill's most profound yet least discussed discoveries was that highly successful individuals deliberately redirect their sexual energy into creative pursuits. This isn't about suppression, but transformation, turning biological drive into mental, emotional, and spiritual power. Hill observed that the most innovative periods in the lives of geniuses like Edison, Lincoln, and Socrates coincided with their relationships with women who inspired them intellectually and emotionally. These weren't merely supportive partnerships, but catalysts that transformed raw energy into refined creative output. This transmutation doesn't happen accidentally, it requires a conscious decision to channel one's most powerful drives toward productive ends. Consider how many people squander this energy on fleeting pleasures or allow it to dissipate through lack of direction. The average person has never made the decision to harness this force, instead letting it control them rather than controlling it. Winners, by contrast, recognize this energy as their most valuable resource and deliberately direct it toward their definite chief aim. Have you made the decision to transmute your most powerful drives into creative achievement? Or are you still allowing your energy to be scattered across unproductive channels? The line separating focused power from wasted potential is the decision to recognize, retain, and redirect your vital force toward your highest purpose. This moment presents you with a fundamental choice. Will you continue to let your most potent energy dissipate without direction? Or will you make the decision that has empowered history's greatest achievers? Will you transform raw power into refined achievement? You've been relying solely on logical analysis and conscious reasoning. The self-delusional ignore the wisdom of intuition. Winners make the decision to develop and trust their sixth sense. Intuition is the crowning achievement of all other mental principles combined. Napoleon Hill described the sixth sense as the portion of the subconscious mind which has been referred to as the creative imagination. It's the faculty through which hunches and inspirations flash into the mind from sources beyond ordinary consciousness. Hill discovered that every truly successful person he studied had learned to trust and act upon this intuitive guidance. Edison relied on his intuition when logical approaches failed. He would often sit in silence, waiting for ideas to emerge from his subconscious. He didn't just hope for inspiration, he made the deliberate decision to create conditions for it to appear. Similarly, Ford would often make business decisions that his advisors considered irrational, guided by what he called his knowing. These weren't reckless gambles, but measured responses to intuitive signals that others couldn't perceive. Most people acknowledge their intuitive flashes, but rarely make the decision to act on them. They second-guess their deepest knowings, dismissing them as irrational or impractical. Winners, by contrast, recognize intuition as the culmination of all mental faculties working in harmony and make the conscious decision to develop and trust this sixth sense. When was the last time you received an intuitive flash about your life or work but talked yourself out of following it? How many opportunities have you missed because you decided that your rational mind knew better than your intuitive guidance? The most powerful decision you can make today is to stop dismissing your intuition and start cultivating it as your most valuable advisor. Will you continue to limit yourself to what your conscious mind can comprehend, or will you finally make the decision to access the infinite intelligence available through your sixth sense? This choice between limited reasoning and expanded awareness determines whether you join the ranks of the visionaries or remain among the merely competent. You stand at the threshold of transformation. Before you lies the single decision that has separated history's achievers from its spectators. The self-delusional postpone this decision indefinitely. Winners make it now and renew it daily. The decision to claim absolute ownership of your mind is the foundation of all achievement. Napoleon Hill's most profound discovery wasn't just what successful people did, it was what they decided. They decided to control their thoughts rather than be controlled by them. They decided that their mental state was a choice, not a consequence of circumstances. This isn't just positive thinking, it's the fundamental recognition that the mind is yours to direct, and this direction determines everything else. When Henry Ford was told by engineers that his vision for a V8 engine was impossible, he didn't accept their limitation. He made the decision that his mind would find a way, regardless of apparent obstacles. He instructed his team to keep working until they succeeded, and after more than a year of failed attempts, they did. Ford's success wasn't just mechanical ingenuity, was the decision to maintain complete sovereignty over his thinking, refusing to accept limitation even when evidence supported it. Most people surrender the control of their minds to external forces. They allow circumstances, other people's opinions, past failures, or current challenges to determine their thoughts. Winners make the non-negotiable decision that they alone will determine what occupies their mental space. They recognize thought as the creative force of life and assume total responsibility for directing it. This is the moment of truth. Will you continue allowing your mind to be a democracy where every passing influence gets a vote? Or will you finally make the decision to establish an absolute dictatorship over your thoughts, allowing entry only to those that serve your highest purpose? The line between mediocrity and mastery, between frustration and fulfillment, between the self-delusional and the winners isn't drawn by circumstance, but by this single decision. The power awaits your command. The potential lingers for your direction. The decision stands for your making. What will you choose? The world doesn't reward wishful thinking. It rewards decisive action. And decisive action springs from decisive minds. The mental decision to take complete control of your thoughts isn't just one of many important choices, the foundation upon which all other success principles rest. Napoleon Hill discovered that every achievement, every fortune, and every breakthrough began with this single decision. The decision to direct your mind rather than have it directed. The decision to focus on solutions rather than problems. The decision to expect success rather than fear failure. This isn't mystical thinking. It's the practical recognition that thought precedes everything. You've spent years trying to change your results without first changing the thinking that creates those results. You've tried to build an empire on a foundation of sand. The decision to claim ownership of your mind isn't just another self-improvement technique, it's the fundamental shift that makes all improvement possible. Right now, in this moment, you stand before the same decision that has faced every person who ever lived. Will you direct your mind, or will you allow it to be directed? Will you choose your thoughts, or will you accept whatever thoughts happen to appear? Will you live deliberately, or will you live by default? The moment of truth has arrived. You can continue reading these words as interesting ideas to be considered someday. Or you can let them penetrate to your core, marking the exact instant when you decided to join the ranks of those who refuse to be spectators in their own lives. The difference between these two choices isn't just what you'll do in the next few minutes, it's who you'll become in the coming years. The decision is yours. Make it now.